Ian, I was at Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
I heard you saw a legend.
I saw multiple legends. I saw Nintendo legends there. Bruce Lowry.
I'm referring to a different legend.
I saw a couple of different Intellivision consoles there.
Yeah.
As I talk about legend.
Yeah, I'm talking about a specific legend.
Well, we'll get to that in a bit. Let's talk about the one console that actually is going to be released at some point. So I checked out at the Atari, but Atari's one of the main sponsors at PRG now in terms of they get the primo booth space. They have like 20 different workers there.
They had a gorgeous booth at Comic-Con too.
Their booths are gorgeous there. They're like the top-notch booths there. They're using those funds well from from reselling you Centipede on a cartridge and things like that. Whatever else, the hot sauces, whatever. So they were showing off. They got their Pac-Man edition Atari that we talked about.
Which you can still buy. You can still pre-order.
They got their 3 or 4 different versions of the same thing for the 2600, and then the 8-bit version, emulation console, and the 7800, and what have you. But now they got something else, Ian. They have an Intellivision Mini that is on the way.
It's called the Intellivision Sprint, and it's not FPGA, and that's the only time I'm going to bitch about it because I don't care anymore. The Intellivision Sprint.
We'll get to that in a bit. About that.
The Intellivision Sprint is $150, and I'll tell you, it looks nice. It looks as nice as an Intellivision console can look,
in a smaller form factor,
and still being recognizable. I think the name is cute. Sprint is cute. The running man. Yeah. So okay. Sprint, it's cute. Okay. I like it. It's got 45 built-in games. It's got Boulder Dash. Shark is going to be there.
We'll get into why Boulder Dash is in there.
And Astro Smash.
Because that was not an original television game.
And Astro Smash. And more. There's overlays for each game, which I think is really cool. If you've ever heard me talk about Intellivision, one of the things I love the most, like the thing that I think is great about it, is I love the overlays. I love how they look, because there's always some cool art or something on the overlays. And even when the Amico was announced with the video screen, when I initially thought it still might be a halfway decent idea, I was like, that's fucking cool. Anytime you load up an Intellivision game, they can just display the overlay on the screen. They never did that. So you get the overlays, and then I believe you said, because I'm not seeing it, but there's an SD card slot available where you can shove other games.
You can shove other games?
Yes. Shove that right up your SD slot.
Okay, so let's just back up a minute here. So when we first learned that the fine folks at Intellivision, when Tommy Tallarico was still a part of that company and drove it into flew it into the ground, when they sold the rights to the name and the remaining games they had that they weren't cannibalizing out, because they cannibalized out 2 that we'll talk about, the first thing we said was, well, it makes sense for Atari to get this because they're putting out these aftermarket consoles. They're remaking games, and I think we even said, they're probably going to do a mini at some point. What else do you do with these products? You can't sell individual official remakes of Shark on a cartridge. You'll have about 20 people buy them. So,
right.
But this makes sense.
It does.
It's part of the ecosystem of, hey, we're the pre-NES gaming era. That's fine. The 70s and early 80s stuff, that's fine. So you get HDMI connection. You get 2 wireless controllers of the classic disc style, and I tried them out, and I'll get to it in a second. I did play this a little bit at PRGE. You get overlays. They show me the overlays, so you get the overlays for every game, for 2 for each game, so you're going to get 90 overlays.
See, these are the little things that make me actually want this over, like, the Atari.
And then you get a USB-A port to connect original Intellivision 2 controllers with adapter. That I did not see that there on display, so I can't comment on that.
So Intellivision 2 controllers were detachable, whereas the television, if you opened up the system, whereas Intellivision 1 controllers were not. So if you wanted an official Intellivision controller, that makes sense. It's probably just an adapter that you plug it into.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
So
I didn't think about that. So if they give you an adapter, that'd be cool. So it says you get the 2 wireless controllers, 96 one-sided controller. Why 96 if it's 45 games? What's the extra 6 for?
I'm going to guess 2 players. Oh, yeah. So what is the extra 6 for?
Pat math. That's 6 more than what you would need. I don't know if that's a typo or not. Full game list. We're not going to go through all of them. But here's the big thing. BBG, the German company that helped work on some of these Amico games, and through German funding got the money to do that through Intellivision. And then, so anyway, so they got money at some point and bought the rights. This pissed us both off. Was it 2 years ago this happened? 2.5?
Jesus, I don't even know
They
anymore.
bought the rights to Shark and to Astro Smash.
The two most iconic games on the system.
Two of the five games people would know are on the Intellivision to begin with, and that's even stretching it. You know,
Frogbog,
Night Stalker, running out. The Tron games, which I don't
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, which I don't know the names for. Something of Tarman.
Microsoft, not Microsoft, Microsurgeon maybe.
There you go.
There was a couple Dungeons and Dragons games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get most of the games that I would expect to be on here. You get your Armor Battle, you get your Astro Smash, you get all the pro sports games where they have to take off MLB and NASL for the soccer league. That's gone, obviously. You get your Shark, so they licensed that from BBG. You get your Space Battle, you get your Snafu, Star Strike. I've heard of Star Strike. Yeah, Astro Smash. I'll bring that up. That had to be licensed. Those two are licensed. Boulder Dash was a homebrew that came out in 2015 that I guess was somehow either acquired or came under BBG's dominion because they make modern Boulder Dash, so that's on this console. The fact that that's featured in the description is very telling that it's two BBG games, including Boulder Dash and Shark, when Boulder Dash was not an original Intellivision game. So that means it's strange. Maybe that was part of the deal to promote that. I don't know. So you get triple action. People might have heard of that. So you get a good mix. But what you do not get, Ian, and you get Night Stalker. You do not get the Tron games. I do not see them here.
No, I mean, no, you don't. I did not see them. I went through it again, and I'm double checking some things to make sure they're just not under a different name.
You do get B-17 Bomber,
like Tower of Doom. I thought might have been one of the D&D games, but it's not. I looked it up.
Or Utopia. What is Utopia?
What's that?
Utopia is listed. Which game is Utopia?
Utopia is the strategy game. It's okay. Yeah, that's a well-known one. Tommy used to always talk about how he was going to get Utopia on there.
Oh, okay. That looks like a Stratego type of thing.
No, it's like close to a real-time strategy game, like an early attempt at like a strategy game.
All right, there you go.
You also don't get stuff like Diner or Burger Time because they're not.
They don't own the rights.
They don't own the rights, but those are games that are also like, if you put a gun to someone's head and said name the best port on Intellivision, it's going to be Burger Time every time. Everyone always talks about how good the Burger Time port is. So
and you don't get the D&D games.
And you don't get the D&D games. But if there's an SD card slot and you can add the rest of the games, that's really not a big deal.
Yeah.
And they do have pretty much all of the Intellivision, the Mattel made games that I would expect to see on here.
Yeah, they could have probably put some more, but they probably put the majority of people care about. I don't know how many Mattel made. I don't know that much about Intellivision. Sorry, Tommy. But yeah, you don't get the 80. I'm surprised the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I wonder if there was some rights issues where they couldn't just take the names off, and then just maybe TSR kind of owns the license.
Well, TSR's long gone,
or whoever owns the rights.
Well, that's the thing. I wonder. Yeah, whoever has those, which would be. I mean, D&D is owned by Wizards of the Coast now, so.
So I guess maybe it wasn't worth trying to unwind the rights to that and figure that out.
Right, or I wonder if it's a matter of who actually has like the rights to not so much the license name Dungeons and Dragons, but who has the rights to the source code. Because you would think that they could just eliminate the D&D.
That's the first thing I said. Because according to
I don't know the legality of that.
According to this, like Treasure of Tarman was published by Mattel.
Right.
But are the rights to the old developer APH Technological Consulting? Wow, I never heard of them before.
I wonder if they just didn't want to deal with any potential hassle.
Yeah, because those are other games that are beloved. There was like two? You said 2 or 3. There was definitely 3 Tron games that I know of.
Yes, and I know there was another more dungeon crawly-y, like I believe it was kind of closer to a first person.
Okay, so that aside, though, I don't think this is a bad product. I think this is hitting that sweet spot for what those Intellivision fans probably want, as to say the final hurrah of an Intellivision product in the modern era. Because let's be honest, after this, you really can't do anything. This is the end of the line when it comes to hardware. I'm not trying to say you could not do an FPGA in television, but the cost versus the interest, you would not break even on that to be close.
And that's why this itches that part of me less. Like, it bothers me less than the Atari 2600 Plus, because realistically, there is no reason to make. Sorry to the Intellivision fans out there, but there is not a market big enough for an FPGA in television. I do think there's a market big enough for an FPGA Atari.
Absolutely, there is. And this is where I'll get into some of this, because I think people, I understand they bought the rights, but they're trying to experience the other side of the console war. Was it a console war technically? Yes, it was. Atari had like 90% of the market.
Right.
They dominated.
It wasn't a scrappy back and forth fight like Sega and Nintendo.
Yeah,
had
it wasn't.
In the 90s.
It wasn't like that. It was more like when the NES prior to Genesis had, or let's say the first 6 months of Genesis still had like 89% of the market, where it was like Nintendo is the brand name for its Kleenex. It's what video games are. That's how Atari was.
Yes.
And television's market share was probably like 5% or whatever the hell it was. It was not. It's like them and Odyssey 2 fighting it out for second place. Like.
And I feel like with the 45 games included, this is like an all-in-one thing. A person who's interested in Intellivision but doesn't want to fucking go down some sort of dark hole with Intellivision.
You don't want to mod your Intellivision for HDMI.
$150, you get what looks like a sleek-looking console. You get some of the most obvious games for the system. You can load the other obvious ones on. You'll get $150 of enjoyment out of it over a month. And if you're a huge fan, you put it on your shelf or you sell it off.
Or, if you just decide to go to, I'll put some homeroos on here or the other missing games.
Sure.
And they'll load it up on the emulator probably. It's
probably
not locked out. It's probably not locked out.
I would hope not, or it would probably be breakable.
Yeah. It's because it's just running an emulator, like on this, obviously.
So
you don't need a lot of horsepower to run an Intellivision emulator. My TI-83 can run it.
I try to be positive about the direction Atari's gone in.
Yes, overall, it's been good.
This is the first. This is the first console that I've seen in a while where I was like, I think my lowest point was the
2600 Plus.
No, the Atari 800 plug-in.
It was just re-releasing the same thing in a different shell.
Hated that. No, the 800, not the 7800. When they did the little plug and play of the 800 home computer.
Yes, but that was the same. It was the same thing though, just without the cartridge slot for the Atari games. The same guts, basically. It's running.
Oh, yeah, right. But I'm just saying, like, they sold it as its own thing with only the 800 games on it, which were mostly ports. That, to me, was the silliest thing that they have done.
Oh, yes. I guess technically it's a different platform, but yeah.
Yes, of the recent era, that's the silliest thing they've done.
Okay, so yeah, that's really, the 800 is technically different, but it's that point, why not do the 5200 with it? You're right. It's yeah. They never did it. They skipped over your 5200. You're probably salty about that. And they did the 70.
That would have sold tens.
It would have sold many as the Intellivision many. So, okay, I saw this. I think it's fine. Let's talk about the controller. The controller's a little bit smaller.
Probably like a 2 size.
Like 2/3 size.
I think that's roughly the size of the ones on the Intellivision too.
Yeah, like a little bit
shrunk down from the original.
Just like the console's like 2/3 the size of this mini's like a 2/3 size. It's like that big, Ian, and not like a big chunker. And I played Astro Smash on it. And for better or for worse, it was the Intellivision disc controller and those awful action buttons on the side. Like, it's not a prime way to play action games. But it felt like how it should. And that's, I guess, a compliment to it. It did not try to reinvent how it was.
And that's okay. This is a nostalgia project. It's not trying to make a whole new generation of Intellivision fans. Recreate it in all of its bullshit glory, because that's what people want. It's not a new system that you're trying to sell the new people.
Well, let's
using the disc.
Let's not have rose-tinted glasses about that disc.
No.
It's a little rough. And it was a little rough when I played at PRGE, going back and forth and out. I'm like, yep, it feels just as clunky as a regular one does.
And it's okay to admit that it's an awful controller, because I am a 5200 fan, and I also admit that my console's controller is miserable.
I mean, maybe there's a good reason why, the good thing we didn't have a Super Mario Brothers on the console, because I can't imagine trying to play something like that or Contra with that disc, and it would be a nightmare, and with those action buttons. And yeah, and the little number buttons did feel like I don't know. I forget what they used.
The
for
little
that.
bubble membranes.
Little bubble membranes.
Oh,
it
that's
felt
cool.
right. It felt right. So I think
I like that.
I mean, that's how you want to do it.
It's going to give the fans what they want.
Yes. My friend said, "Hey Pat, do you think the television fan said, do you think I said for you it's fine?" And they said, "Ha, you're a comedian." I said, "Yeah, no, for you it's fine. Like if you're an Intellivision fan growing up, this is what you want."
Yeah, I think this is a attractive, marketable product that has an audience, and it's not just the original audience. Like I said, I think it's interesting for tourists who want to experience something without spending a ton of money and doing conversions.
Probably get some of the people that bought the Atari console, some 27-year-old or 28-year-old said, "Oh, I want to learn about retro games. I'll buy the Atari 2600 Plus. God bless you." That might get in the ecosystem to buy the Intellivision Sprint. Just be like, hey, the same way tons of people bought the TurboGrafx Mini and never even heard of the console or played the games.
Yeah. I'm not going to pre-order one, but this is something that I could see in my living room for a short period of time at some point.
You give it a go. You give it a laugh. Mm-hmm. Let's play some Astro Smash 2 players game. Let's have fun.
I do like Astro Smash. I like the risk reward of Astro Smash.
There's also a risk reward that happened investing in another Intellivision product.
Yeah.